AFTV Graham, impressed today?
It was come to in the end, Robbie. The score in the end was what we thought it would be, but let's look at it, take it back to the start, right? We started with a 4-2-3-1 shape. He went with Mkhitaryan at 10, Iwobi and Welbeck out wide. And they sat with 6 behind the ball.
Seven?
Well, 6.
One time I counted, it was 7.
From where I was looking, there was 6, literally a row of 6 across, and we were struggling to break them down, right? Our centre halves were too deep, our centre mids were deep as well. Torreira did punch through some nice balls over the top, but I think our centre mid should have been high up the pitch, and we struggled to break them down. They were very disciplined for half an hour, and we created nothing. Now, what happened was that we achieved a turnover when they overcommitted, and then Mkhitaryan spun it out wide to Iwobi. His pace on the cross for Aubameyang was outstanding, and Aubameyang's finish was almost Henry-esque, and he also had another Henry-like shot in the first half that clipped the outside of the post. What you saw with Aubameyang was the pace on the counter. We scored on the counter, he was able to pull out wide, and then in the second half he clipped one in. Now, the situation with Aubameyang is, Rob, we saw where he's sort of like affected now. He's very good in spaces in behind, running between the fullback and the centre back. Now, Lacazette's been playing in that position all season and been playing really well. Now,
what do we do then?
Well, I think it's obvious what we do. We play.
What?
It's obvious what we do, Rob. We play the two of them, but we play them closer together. Now, Aubameyang is an elite centre forward, right? But Lacazette doesn't deserve to be dropped on current form, and he does a job for us. He can play in the 9, and he's a focal point to bring players into play. I've said this to you before. He needs to decide if he's going 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, or how he's going to accommodate these two players.
So if you accommodate the two of them,
it's obvious how we accommodate them, isn't it? We play.
No, but what I'm saying is, right, just for a second.
He's got two choices, Rob. He's got two choices, right? At the moment, the team is being clogged up with Ozil and Ramsey in the team. He's got to make a choice between Ozil and Ramsey. If he's going to play 4-2-3-1, he plays Mkhitaryan on the right, and he plays Aubameyang on the left, but he plays him closer to Lacazette, right? So, football these days, if you look at the way teams defend now, they defend in deep blocks, and there's not much space between the middle. So he doesn't necessarily have to play down the middle. He can play out wide, not on the wing. He hasn't got the pace to run past people, right? You saw it at Newcastle. When he gets the ball, he can't dribble past someone. But when he comes inside, he can sort of like get on the through balls. So he needs to come closer to Lacazette. Now, to do that, Ozil, we've invested heavily in Ozil, a massive contract in Ozil. Ramsey, contract situation, is he going to stay with Arsenal? We don't know. So at the moment, he's playing Ozil out wide, which offers us no real value. I know he drifts around a bit, and Ramsey is central in that number 10. Ramsey's not a creator, Ozil is. Ramsey, if you're going to play Ramsey has to play in a midfield 3 because he's a third man running midfielder. He can run from deep and get on the end of things. That's his strength. Ozil is the creator. Ramsey doesn't create. So you're wasting Ramsey and you're wasting Ozil. He's got too many players to combat. If he wants to get the best, Rob, out of Aubameyang, he has to move him closer to Lacazette. Lacazette still has to play. We've got 2 elite goal scorers.
What I was going to say is that's great, but then who covers when they lose the ball? What about when we ain't got it? Is there enough strength then in the midfield to accommodate those 2 players? Because you've seen even tonight. That second, I know we were all knackered at the end. The players are knackered at the end. Nobody really bothered to run back, but that was so easy, wasn't it?
We can't defend crosses from wide areas, and we don't mark well enough from crosses. It's been an ongoing problem. It was there from Wenger, and he's not going to solve it overnight, is he? If you're talking about what you need to do, you need to play a diamond 4 midfield, right? And that is what gives the protection. You've got Torreira at the base, you play Xhaka slightly forward, and you play a right-sided midfielder. And then you play Ozil at the top of the diamond. Then you play those 2 close together. That gives you midfield security off the ball, out of possession. So you've got those defensive.
But then is there enough width?
The width has to come from the fullbacks, right? The width has to come from the fullbacks. Ozil, when he plays out wide, doesn't sort of like involve the fullbacks. But if he was to come more central, I think then there'll be better connections. Lacazette could come out, draw defenders out in the middle, and then we could get the overlap, right? But we haven't got a lot of width in this team. He's playing 4-2-3-1 without any. We've lost all our dribblers and wide players, haven't we? And he's playing a 4-2-3-1 system, square pegs in round holes. He's got to make his mind up what he's going to do. The conundrum for me is, does he play Ozil or Ramsey? He's got to play Lacazette and Aubameyang. They're elite goal scorers, and they're the personality of the team, Robbie. They are the personality of the team.
And on Sunday against Everton, Ozil or Ramsey for you?
It's obvious. It's Ozil. We've invested heavily in Ozil, right? Ozil has to play at the cam position, a central attacking midfield, and unfortunately for me, I'd leave Ramsey out. So
and Leno or Czech?
Well, on
Sunday.
Look. If you'd said to me at the start of the season who was going to be our goalkeeper, I would have said Leno. Leno suits this style of play, but Czech has come in and he's done okay. He's made lots of saves and he's done nothing yet to warrant being dropped from the team. So I think that Czech has to stay in goal. But the one thing we have to do, we have to move Torreira in. What Torreira does, he gives our play more. He punches the ball forward really quickly. He gives us more tempo. He's a busy player. He can play the ball over the top. And also he brings the best out in Xhaka. Xhaka hasn't got to worry about defensive responsibilities when Torreira's in the team. He's positionally aware, so he has to play next to Xhaka. I wouldn't be against if he wanted to play Ramsey in a 3. Ramsey is the third midfielder, but he can't play Ramsey at 10. So that's on that, Rob. Can I just, before I go, just don't normally come on here to shout out stuff that I do, but over the last month I've got involved in a podcast with AFTV's lead judges. Yep. And I think you know Lee's mate, Craig Scott. Yep. Yeah, you met them. Craig is the former host of the Gooner Talk, and he asked me onto the show with Harry Simu, and we now do a podcast on Monday night. It goes out on video on a Tuesday, and it's on audio on a Monday night. People have asked me, when am I going to start my own YouTube channel? Well, I'm not going to start a YouTube channel. I haven't got time, and I don't want to take your place, do I? but at the end of the day, I do like analysing football, and we are three. We love discussing, analysing Arsenal. So what we do is we talk about the game. I analyse it in depth, and Lee comes in with his unique style, and Harry's excellent as well. So that's the same old Arsenal podcast. You can either subscribe to it either on iTunes if you want to listen to audio, and the other thing you can do is either watch it on YouTube. You go to YouTube. I think he's getting more hits at the moment on the audio. Just one final thing before I go, Rob. Gazidis' legacy, right? I just wanted to say what I think Gazidis' legacy was. Was he jumped or was he pushed? I believe he jumped for the money. I think he jumped for the money. He's a businessman. He went for the money. What is his legacy at Arsenal? His legacy at Arsenal will be that he held on to Arsene Wenger too long. He was responsible for the bodged Suarez transfer mess, which was unbelievable. And he allowed a lot of our best players, along with Wenger, to leave for nothing. So he is responsible for where we are. This is the reason we're in the Europa League. It's down to Ivan Gazidis. And I don't come on here and slag people off, right? And I don't like saying harsh words. I try to be respectful for people. He did come across to me as smug, arrogant, and quite frankly, I'm glad he's gone. I hope the door whacked him on the head on the way out, right? So, but I honestly believe his legacy is that he's the reason why we're in the Europa League. He's allowed our best players to leave, and we haven't got the cash reserves now, Robbie. That's why we're struggling to compete by players. Look at the way Liverpool now running away, investing in players, and we can't do that. And I blame Ivan Gazidis, so I'm glad he's gone.